Good evening, and thank you for tuning in. I'm Crystal Gunn, financial strategist for women, founder of the Amazing Woman Network, and host of Amazing Women Speak, a celebration of Black women by Black women, where we strive to bring info to uplift, inspire, and motivate every Black woman to own, honor, and execute her amazing as it was established at birth. And too often, Black women are told to stay in our place or wear all the hats or shoes, as we say, others assign to us, or we fall into our own self doubt and other bullshit that keeps us from owning our amazing. But what happens when you give yourself permission? Permission to let go, permission to release what no longer serves you, permission to demand what should be yours, and permission to go after it all, no matter who says what. Let's talk about it today, but first, let's get to some introductions. Michele.
Thank you. Good evening. Once again, it is a pleasure and an honor to be in company with amazing women, having amazing conversations, unpacking the bullshit bar at all of the levels, and really getting at the core to what makes us amazing as women. My name is Michele Harper. I have the honor of being the co-host of this conversation tonight, and I'm really excited where this is going to go. And because it is the fastest hour on Facebook right now, we are going to dive right in with introductions. So Jamie, come on in and introduce yourself.
Well, hello everyone. I am Jamie Gabriel. I am the owner and founder of Woven, which stands for Women of Virtue, Eliminating Negativity. And we are in the business of helping people to find, fix, own, and maintain their crowns mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and financially. So that is Jamie in a nutshell.
So we are expecting another guest who is having some tech issues. So when you see another face pop up on the screen, we will certainly invite her into the conversation. And I am clear, for as long as she is not in this space, Jamie can hold this conversation to get us where we need to go. So please stay tuned anyway. Facebook Live is going to be a dynamic conversation. Remember, the chat is open. Please drop your questions, your thoughts. We really do want to hear from you. We really do try to make this a two-way conversation. It is important, as we are empowering Black women to own their amazing, that we get to hear your voices. So please utilize the chat. Crystal and I will be monitoring that along the way. So Jamie, let's get started. You do so much. Clearly, you have already given yourself permission to not be held by the shackles of life, to bump up against the narrative that Black women can only do so much, can only hold so much, can only juggle so many balls. How did this all start for you? Talk to us about that beginning moment when you defined that now is the time to push a little further.
Well, so there's been various stages over my short life span, but the most recent one was when I decided to own my crown. Now, first off, I didn't realize that I was worthy of my crown. Because the stereotypical crown, people like to discuss, they think it's only held for certain type of royalty. But when you look at the totality of who you are for balance, right? Fixing my crown was a process to fix me, find my identity as a woman, not just being a mother and a wife and co-worker, boss, and all those things. So my journey of giving myself permission was when those jewels that I described, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, and financial, when I realized that those were completely out of balance and that the crown that I had found was cracked, chipped, stones missing, tilted to the side, that I needed to work on myself. And I gave my permission to me to be me unapologetically, to change my narrative from what everything that everyone else was calling me to be who I know I'm supposed to be.
So I need to back up because you said something that's a whole conversation in and of itself. I did not think I was worthy.
I didn't. So various stages of my life, in the workforce, going through college, becoming a woman. Just because you turn a certain age doesn't mean that you are a woman. Okay, so for me, it was, all right, I've birthed 3 babies. I have a spouse, I have this career, and what I thought was this life that was awesome and amazing, I was broken and I didn't know who I was. I was someone that everybody else had called me all those years. And then when I started working on me and saying, well, what do you like, Jamie? What do you like to do? Who are you? Can you look at yourself in the mirror and say that you appreciate you for who you are? Or are you only appreciating the attributes of what everyone else says you are? And so that was the process of me saying, okay, I do have a crown. And what does this crown look like? And what are the pieces to this crown so that I can get into balance?
So one more time, right? Like you're dropping nuggets all along the way. Did you recognize that you were broken after you were broke, or did you see yourself breaking? Right? Like that's one of the things so often, right? Like we keep pushing and we don't recognize we're breaking until we're broke.
So, okay, so when I look at those 5 jewels, right? You operate in brokenness until you realize that you're broken. So mentally, I was working a pretty taxing job. And we all went through the pandemic. It was unprecedented times. It was, that's the favorite word to say for COVID. But I looked at my employees not as my employees, they were my family. So the struggles that they were having, I felt those struggles mentally and emotionally, definitely physically. And I started to feel this breakdown in my mental. I started not being the person I wanted to be. I started being grumpy, being angry, being frustrated, because there weren't things that I could necessarily control, right? I can't control the pandemic, but what I could control was the environment in which my employees came into each day. So yes, that was one of them. I started seeing my mental breakdown, that instability, snapping at my children. They're not doing anything wrong, but I don't even really know why I'm snapping at them. Okay, that was a mental thing I was going through. Emotionally, I started breaking, not getting enough sleep. So now I'm taking on all the emotions of my staff as they come in, where they can't see their wives or their children because they have COVID. So they're separated from them for weeks at a time. So now that is an emotional drain on me. And then physically working crazy hours because now we've gone from 1 shift to 3 shifts, 24/7, right? Our bodies are not created for that level of intensity. So I'm breaking down with that. And then spiritually, again, I'm sensing the spiritual struggles that the people that report to me that are my family are going through, and how can I help them? Financially, I was doing great. That was not a broken area, right? So that part was great. We don't have to deal with that. But the other 4 was so out of balance that I could start seeing it physically. I start seeing the stress factors in my face, in my conversation, not being as jovial as I wanted to be with my staff and with my family. So yeah, you don't really know that you're broken until you're so broken that you realize that you have to do something about it.
Thank you. Ms. Morton, welcome, welcome, welcome. Please introduce yourself to the folks out here on Facebook Live.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. My name is Rochelle Morton, and wow, how do I want to introduce myself? I am a personal protection and safety coach. Aside from that, I'm a project manager for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, and I'm a mother, and That's a whole lot right there.
Right? So thank you for joining us. And so as we begin to start having some of this conversation, when we are talking about that no limit living, right? I'm really curious, talk to us about your decision to get into safety and really focusing on women, right?
Mhm.
As one more thing to add to our plates, right? Like, how am I going to figure this out? How do I do it? Give it its due justice and continue to hold everything up to the level that I hold it up.
Okay, so I got involved with personal protection and safety primarily for me. It was very selfish. I had seen a post on Facebook from the person that ultimately sponsored me in Damsel in Defense, but she mentioned, and she doesn't live here in Michigan, but she just talked about the opportunities to be able to help protect oneself, from danger. And the two products that she mentioned were two products that I wanted. I wanted a stun device, and I also wanted pepper spray. I didn't even know what a stun device was, but it sounded interesting. So I contacted her, reached out to her, and I told her, that I really wanted to get the products. That was when she informed me what I could not have in Michigan, which were those two products. We could not have the pepper spray that Damsel in Defense was offering at the time, and we couldn't have stun devices either. But there are a plethora of other things that I could have, and that I could either get them, from her and pay full price, or I could join her team and get them at a discount. So I thought about it, and I do like to save money whenever possible. So I joined the company so that I could get what I wanted at a discount, and it was just all about me. I was able to get a hold of some of the products that I wanted that I shouldn't have had, but there were other people that were concerned about my safety. My sister was one of them, and so I was able to, get some of what I wanted, but God kept waking me up at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, every morning after I got those products, and just reminding me that I'm not the only one who's concerned about my safety or about safety, period. And that there are other women who felt just like me, but that he had tapped my shoulder to get involved with this company, not for the discount, but for me to move the needle forward with changing the laws in Michigan and making sure that the women in Michigan could protect themselves and their families, just like most of the other states in this country. That was a little scary for me because I've never changed the law. I hadn't even been to the capital, Lansing, here in Michigan. I knew nothing. And so, I clearly ignored him for a couple of weeks, but the 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning wake up call where I just could not sleep, he just kept waking me up and telling me that I needed to do what he assigned me to do. And so I agreed, and I just said, okay, I need you to kind of point me in the right direction, put the right people in my path. I don't know anything about what I'm supposed to do here. And so he agreed. And that was how the journey started. And from there, I had no intention of building a team or anything like that, but all of that happened. So I've got team members in other states. I was able to at least change one state law in Michigan so that we could at least have the pepper sprays. And thank you. I'm still working to this day. It's been 5 years. I'm still working on changing the stun device law because most other states can have it. I've been able to pass it in the House, but when it gets to the Senate, there's one particular senator who is blocking me from being able to have it go to the Senate floor. So that's continuing to be a problem, but we're hoping to get it through. And during lame duck this year, before the new session starts and I have to start all over again, that particular person has termed out. So if I have to start all over again, he will no longer be the thorn in my side. And hopefully by Christmas, we all can have stun devices. That's my goal, is that it happens this year and not next year.
That is incredible. When your vision is aligned, God will move folks out of the way.
Absolutely. And that's what he's doing.
So you said something interesting though, that and you said when you started that journey, it was a selfish decision, which prompted me to go look up the definition of selfish.
Okay.
Because you know, there's this all this talk, self-love, self-care, self, you got to do for you first in order to be able to pour into someone else, right? And I don't know that, and it could be, I just don't know, because I don't really pay attention to other cultures, but I know we hear it a lot with Black women, right? And us having to be selfish in order to do this, that, or the other. But the definition of selfish is lacking consideration for others, concerned chiefly with one's own personal profit or pleasure. And I don't think, even when we're trying to make sure that we do for self first, that any part of that is being selfish. And I think we need to change that narrative and stop saying, I need to be selfish for me, because we're not doing it. The reason that we're doing it is, one, care for ourselves, but it is concern of others, right? So I don't know, just a little something that I had to throw in there, because.
So I want to say that you were being self-full. So you were filling yourself up with the tools that you needed to protect yourself and others. And as you did that filling process, right, your overflow then flowed onto everyone else. So I like to call it self-full, right? Because you're filling you first and then you fill others instead of being selfish. That's just my definition, because you are definitely not selfish by the least.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I
love that.
appreciate that.
Yeah, that's a great way of rethinking that. Words do have power, and how we speak things into our life, manifestation happens in that space. So thank you. I'm going to practice some self-full living. I absolutely love that. So Jamie, I am really taken. You were sharing a little bit about your story before we went live. And God, again, will continue to open doors, and you have to make decisions, right? Do I do one more thing, right? How do I decide, right? And so life will, the way we've been socialized, will have us say enough is enough, right? Have us believe that there is a limit to what we can do because of the ways we've been socialized. And so here you are, right, with another opportunity to shift. How are you holding that space for that consideration? Because, right, like you've already shared, you've got a lot going on and you're doing the damn thing.
Yeah, so a shift happened March 20th, 2021, where God woke me up and said that I needed to put in my 2 weeks notice from the organization I was working with. And I was like, I'm not doing that.
That obedience thing, that obedience
Right.
thing.
Obedience, right? So what happened was, I was like, I'm at a financial point where I'm happy. I've not been here before. What's going on? But what he said to me was that if you really want to fix your crown, there are some things that you're going to have to do that is going to make you uncomfortable. And that was an uncomfortable thing. So it started with that. So I started that journey. I think I called Crystal. Actually, there was a lot of phone calls to Crystal leading up to that point. Literally, I was driving to the park, screaming out my window, and then saying, Crystal, I don't think I'm myself, so we're going to have to figure something out. And so then God said, okay, I told you what you needed to do. So I put that resignation in, but I actually didn't leave the organization until September 1st of 2021. And some people told me that it would be career suicide for me to walk away from the position that I was in, that, people wouldn't look at me as someone who they would want on their team, and all of these things, all this negativity. But God was telling me that he needed to do a new thing in me that had to be, where I had to be free. I had to be free in what he needed me to do to move, operate, and those types of things. So yes, I did it scared. And yes, I said, okay, obedience is way more than this financial thing. So, so now a year has passed, right? And right before the year came into place, I got tapped on the shoulder and said, start applying for jobs. And I was like, excuse me, what? We are enjoying this freedom. But it wasn't so free. It wasn't so free. It was a purpose of taking me out of where I was to grow me to another state of mind, to be able to receive what he really wanted to give me and what he has been giving me. So there's been some opportunities that have been placed in my path because of that obedience, because of saying no to me and yes to him. And yeah, the struggle was real. You know, I get people telling me that I make it look easy. I make it look this. I'm like, yeah, that's great. But it wasn't easy. There's some sleepless nights. There's some crying. There's some, are we doing the right thing right now? Are you sure? Was I really supposed to do this? At that time, I got to learn more about my brand and what my brand really stood for. Developing products, learning social media, marketing, selling, doing things that I would not have had time to do if I was still working for another entity. So that shift to even go back into what some would consider shackles is not so, because the assignment that I am on requires me to be in spaces that I've never been in before to make the changes that need to be changed. So yeah, this is a new shift for me. I'm super excited, waiting for it to roll out, and I'm ready for it. I'm a different person than what I was a year ago, and it's all due through obedience, for sure.
So
And
come
you
on,
said-
Crystal, I saw you say something, and when you do this, like,
You- because you said grow to another state of mind. And that was so incredibly powerful, because it's the old thing of what got you here won't get you there.
right.
Right. And sometimes you can't grow when you're in the midst of that thing. And so, but it takes trust and obedience to say, okay, I'm going to walk away from this thing that is certain into some uncertainty to grow my state of mind. It's like, what? So what was the thing? Because, you know, I always question people like, okay, when did you just decide I have to be obedient in this? And even during that, you put your resignation in March and you stayed because they needed you, right? You stayed until September. Was there a time in there where you thought, maybe I'll just renege on that resignation and just stay, since I've already stayed since September, and because this is a sure thing? Or was it, no, I just know that I have to go because I have to grow to another state of mind?
So literally it was, if I don't go, I'm going to become someone that I don't want to be. And being on that side and understanding, so I talk about when people say cloning, oh, I want to clone you. And I always tell them there's going to be a good one and a bad one. Both of them aren't going to be good. But I felt myself going to a dark place, a very, very dark place. And I didn't want to be that person. And it was the best I could do to say, you know what? I like the me that I've become, that I've transitioned from years past to who I am today, that I don't want to go into be this monster that I never intended to be, because I did not regain the balance that I know I'm supposed to have. So there was a few moments where I was like, let me see if I can work this out. Maybe they'll let me work from home. Maybe they'll do this. Maybe they'll do that. And when I heard there is no negotiation, there is no negotiation. This is what you're going to do. And I said, oh, okay. I said it stubbornly. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I was like, yes, okay. No, I was like, you serious about this? And when I got the answer through my writings, because that's how I hear a lot of things that I'm supposed to do. And there was comfort. There was words of comfort. There was words of support. There was a outpouring, and there was a lesson in me learning how to accept help. So it wasn't just a lesson of me getting balance. It was me saying it's okay to have help and accepting it, and even asking for help. When I was told specific people, I had to say, I need your help. That my pride and my ego had to be set aside to not only ask, but to receive it when they gave it to me, and not then try to give them a gift back because they gave it to me.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mine. New limits, new level. Yeah. All that shifting.
I love it. So, Rochelle, from never having been to the Capitol to you out here changing laws, there's some self-talk that has to happen, right? Like a new level of belief of what it is that you can do, as opposed to, oh, just little old me, this Black woman from wherever, fill in the blank, and we've all told ourselves those stories, to changing the law. What's the journey?
So one thing that God reminded me of, number one, is that he created me to serve him. To serve him first. He has to be my first love. And though he was, I didn't always consult him like I should have. And once he gave me the opportunity to make a difference, not only in my life, but in the lives of women in Detroit, in the lives of women within the state of Michigan, and ultimately to give other people in other states that still are restricted, just like Michigan is, but to give them hope by being able to do something here means that it can be done somewhere else. What he reminded me ultimately of was that this was his idea. It was never my idea to go and change a law or to do any of that. I just wanted some pepper spray and a stun gun. That's all I wanted. And then he reminded me, yep, you want that, but it's illegal in your state. Do you know that you can go to jail right now if you have that? And so, yeah, you can have it, but you're risking your freedom by having it. And I don't want you to do that. What I want you to do is to make sure that everybody can have it, not just you. Everybody can have it and not be in violation of the law by having it, so that they can protect themselves and not necessarily take a life if they don't want or have to. And right now in Michigan, we're all about the wild, wild west. We absolutely believe in everybody having a gun, and you shoot now, ask questions later, or answer questions later. And as women, we naturally, we have the portal in which lives make it into the world. We have that. And so for us to then take a life is pretty traumatic for us. You know, it's traumatic for anybody, but it's even, for me, I'll speak for me. It's even worse for me because I can't untake that life. I can't unshoot that gun. I can't go back and correct that. Once I've killed someone, I have to live with that for the rest of my life. And so if it doesn't require a firearm in order for me to be safe, then I want to use whatever other options there are so that I can at least make it to safety and be able to sleep at night at the same time. So he, let me know that this is his thing and it's going to happen. He just needs to use me as the vessel to make it happen. And so when I realized that, and that he was still going to put everything in my path in due time, and for me to ultimately be patient because it's going to take a long time and I've got to talk to a lot of people and be confident when I do it. That was the biggest challenge, was feeling confident, but there were some people who coached me along the way, some politicians who actually sat with me in their office and gave me those challenging questions to be able to be prepared for when I had to testify, because that's the big thing when you're, on TV testifying in front of, these legislators and hoping that they will say yes, and they don't. How do you handle that? So I was able to, at least get the confidence to do that and not back down from what I believed and what God instilled in me, which is we all deserve to be safe. And we all deserve options, and that it's not, one size fits all. Everybody has, their own level of comfort with whatever. And with Damsel in Defense, there are many options. And so people have comfort levels with certain things. Some people are scared to death of pepper spray and that they'll spray themselves. That won't happen, but that's their fear. And I have to recognize that. And so some people, are comfortable with guns and others aren't. I recognize that. So I'm just here to help with the options and letting him use me however it is that he's going to. And at the end of the day, if I can smile when I look in the mirror and I know that he's smiling back at me, then I'm okay.
I love that. So, right, obedience, faith, stepping out, those things in theory, right? Like easy to do in theory. Right? When you have to put some tennis shoes on that thing and put it in action, when you've got the naysayers, right?
Mhm.
And then even after you get past that, the person in the mirror, where oftentimes we allow fear to paralyze us from doing a thing, right? Because faith and action for the unknown, the unseen, right? I'm clear in these conversations over the last 6-7 months, there's not one where we're not talking about faith and our trust in God, right?
Absolutely.
And again, in theory, it is a thing that we know centers us and will move us beyond. But to put tennis shoes on that baby, right? And to get beyond the person, because fear is paralyzing, right? And sometimes we don't even know what the fear is. It's just doing something that is so unnatural, right? That we have to find a way to get through that. How do you do that? I know that there are women that are listening, that are standing before an idea, an option, a dream, to do one more, to go beyond. How do you get past that? How do you, right? Like we know naysayers out there, the person in the mirror. How do you convince Jamie? How do you convince Rochelle that I'm going to put tennis shoes on this thing?
Well, I'm a woman of many shoe accessories. So because some days it's not the gym shoe. Some days it's the heel. Some days it's the boots. And for me, I know where my power lies. So depending on what shoes I have on that day is how I'm walking, right? So if I got my gym shoes on, I'm probably prepared to fight. That's a different fight. If I got my heels on, I am sassy and pretty much in boss mode. And boots, depending on heel or flat, it could be fight and bossy, whichever. But every morning you have to choose you. You have to choose you beyond everything else that's going on, because you're going to have the naysayers, you're going to have the supporters. But if you don't choose you first, it doesn't matter what everything else you do after that. So I've decided to give myself permission to choose me first every morning. After I've had my conversation with God, I choose me. And by choosing me, I know that if I'm doing the best for me, then I can do the best for other people. But if I am like all off into, again, there's still people saying what I can't do. There's still going to be people that are going to say that I'm not going to be a success in this and whatever. And there are days that I tell myself that, because I'm in my feelings, I'm in my emotions, I'm struggling to see the thing that I can't see. And then once I get out of my own way, which is usually journaling, singing, going through my cards that I created, then when I move out of my own way, the fear can't sit there. So I get busy. Because if you sit idle long enough, everything in your imagination will show up and shut you down. Everything. But when I'm busy and I am working towards, and it don't even have to be large goals. It could be very small goals. It could be literally getting up and making my face for the day. That could be a huge goal for a lot of ladies. It could be going to put on something that makes you feel absolutely amazing, that can change your attitude of fear to your attitude of success, and that willingness to go beyond who you thought you were in that moment. So Yeah, I'm all about the attire. I'm all about making sure that what you are feeling is reflective of how you're dressed and how you present you to you first. Because if you celebrating yourself first, you can celebrate others. So that's my get past your fear point. Celebrate you first.
I love that. So if you did not capture all of that, Facebook, the thing that resonated with me is that she's utilizing some tools. She's not figuring this out. She's not just going through the motion. She's journaling, she's singing. So it is important for us to pay attention to what we are doing, why we're trying to get through, and making sure that we are utilizing tools and resources to be able to help us do that. Thank you for sharing that. Ms. Morton, come on in here, talk to us. How are you addressing the person in the mirror to get over that fear?
So one of the mantras that I constantly remind myself of is that it's not about me, but it is about me. And when I think about that, God has plans for me. And one thing I know for sure, his plans never fail. They never fail. I can always count on him whenever I need anything, even if I have to wait until the last minute, he still delivers. I don't want for anything. He takes care of everything for me. And so there's no way that I don't have any justification for believing that he won't stand firm on his promises to me. And so, because again, this is something he put in my path, I didn't go seeking it. It's going to succeed. It's just a matter of me sticking with it and staying true to the commitment that I made to him, that if he showed me the way and put the right people in my path, I would do it. And he would give me the courage daily, because it's not something that I can just, bottle up and hang on to. I have to go to him every day and withdraw from that bank of courage and deposit it into me so that I can make it through the day, no matter who my naysayers are, because they are out there. But I'm not talking to them. I'm not working on this for them. I'm working on this for the people who are scared to go outside of the door because they've been victimized, or they know somebody who has been victimized. We have a violent crime that happens every 26 seconds. And just in the last 5 minutes that we've been talking, there have been 11 of them. And we're going to hear about them a little later. I'd like to make an impact on that particular statistic and reduce that at least within my circle of influence, however I can. But for me to be scared at this point, there's no room for that. God did not give me the spirit of fear. That's something that I hold on to. And I've given myself permission to let that go. I can't be fearless. I can't be fearful and then think that I'm going to go and change a law or convince somebody to hop on the bandwagon that Rochelle Morton happens to be on. I have to be confident in what it is that I'm doing. And when you're confident, that's when you get your supporters and your followers, because they know that you're not going to be easily swayed by whatever wind is happening to flow in a particular direction. I am immovable when it comes to this. I've been fighting for it too long and too hard. So it's going to happen. And I can't wait. And I'm going to throw the biggest pink party in the world when Michigan turns from blue, which means we can't have stun devices, to pink where we can. And that is the last little thing that within the damsel in defense community that I'm fighting for. There are some other things that are on the horizon that I'm going to have to fight for yet again, but this one is huge. This one is huge. And so I just go to him and, and ask for whatever he needs to do to increase my faith and to keep me focused on what it is that he has me here to do, and to just give me the strength that I need and the courage to have the conversations that I need to have, and not let anyone else's negativity interfere with the path that he has for me. Because I've got somewhere to go and I'm going. And somebody can hop on that train or not.
Yeah, that's right. Like, that's world-changing kind of faith, right? Like, what would you do if you knew you could not fail?
Right.
And Rochelle is telling us failure wasn't the option because it was not my assignment.
Right.
I have to keep showing up. That's what I'm required to do. right? And so, I mean, like, that is so bold. That is world changing. Again, for those of us who are faith believers, we are clear that God has a plan for each and every one of us. God has not designed any of us to be in lack, and yet, right? There's another level that you have to go to show up and say, I'm doing it, right? Like, I don't see the end of this whatsoever. I am putting in my 2-week notice with no job on the horizon, right? I'm going to this Capitol with no clear understanding of what it means to get a bill passed through the House and through the Senate. But here I go, right? Like, that's like, I'm over here in chills at the idea that these two women have owned and operated faith at a level that will change the game, because it was not yours. It is truly you being obedient to what God has called on your life. And I'm really grateful for the two of you sharing that part of your journey, because there's a lot of us out there stuck. We recognize, right? Like, in theory, God did not ... And we show up as failures. We show up as we can't have, we can't do, we can't be. And you're telling us that it is possible. And you're telling us that there's space to do it all.
And I just want to say one other thing to everybody who's out there watching and listening. When it comes to, having the faith and the courage and all of that, don't even open the door to negativity and let that breed.
But sometimes we're our own negativity, right? Like, sometimes that's the biggest challenge.
We are.
Like, how do I get over myself?
Yeah. So here's the thing. God doesn't want us to fail. We're his children. When we think of our own children, the last thing we want to see is for failure to happen to them. We do everything we can to make that not a possibility for them. So why would he not do that for us? And so for me, I know that I'm going to be successful in whatever I do, as long as I consult him first, and as long as it's what his plan is and not mine. So that's when I go back to that, it's about me, it's not about me, but it is about me. That's more clear than anything to me, is that in order for certain things to happen, he uses people in a certain way. And, so I'm here to serve him. And when my time is up, he'll take me hopefully to glory. But I can't get there by doing my own thing and thinking that I've done something wonderful and now I get my free pass into heaven. I still have to answer to him when I get to that gate. He's going to look at me and ask me some questions, and they're going to be tough, because there's some things where I went left and he said, go right. But hopefully now I've course corrected, or I've consulted him enough to be able to recognize when he said, I said, go left, not right, get on over there to the left, so I can't thank him enough. I don't have enough time left on this earth to thank him enough for what he's done for me. So I have to do what he created me to do, and to ask him to guide me in that every day.
One of the biggest things that I had to realize was when we talk about the failure, right? I had to have that conversation with myself. Like, okay. And I always say, everything that I do, I didn't choose it. It was assigned to me. And I realized one day that the only way it doesn't happen, the only way that there's no success in it, the only way the thing doesn't do what the thing is supposed to do is if I don't do the work, if I don't do the very thing that God told me to do. Because and this was huge for me, I had to borrow my faith in the creator, because my faith, if y'all know me, is unshakable. I had to borrow the faith in the creator, the faith that he had in me, because there was a point where I didn't have the faith in me. So I said, okay, but wait, but God gave the assignment to me. So if he gave the assignment to me, then that must mean that I'm dope enough to make this happen, right? So, okay, let me go ahead and walk this journey. And that was the permission, the authorization, the thing that gave me the audacity to say, all right, I got this. I can do this. Now I still sometimes be like, all right, God, wait, what we doing? However, right, if he gives you the glimpse, it's the preview, it doesn't always mean it's supposed to happen right now. Because Rochelle, you said it's been 5 years that you were doing this, but you got the glimpse 5 years ago, right? You got the preview. So if he gave you the preview, you know that that thing is going to happen. The only way it doesn't is if you quit going up to Lansing.
That's right.
That's it.
That's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
And if we change what we define, that permission to define what success looks like to us, right? Not what success looks like to everyone else, because you will never be successful in the eyes of those who are creating unspoken expectations of you and your level of success.
Right, that bullshit bar, exactly.
Right?
And they don't
So-
want you to be successful anyway.
Right. So you have to define what success looks like for you. Once you reach that level of success, you celebrate, and then you create your next level of success. Celebrate you in your definition of success, and you're really not failing. And even if you miss the mark on your way to your levels of success, so what? It's okay, because you're learning in the process. But if you continue to try to operate in other people's level of success, you will always fail, because they get to change it, they get to create it, and they get to dictate it and don't even tell you what it is. So define your level of success, own, operate, and execute in those things to get you to your level of success, and make sure you celebrate once you get there, and then move on to the next one. That is the
Dominant
permission.
culture values would tell us that we have to be perfect, right? In order to move forward. And so Jamie is very clearly telling us, right? Like, you need to redefine that and claim success and celebrate those things which we do not do, because we are afraid that we did not get it right. We didn't get it perfect. And so until we do that, right, we can't take the next step. That's that dominant culture value, white supremacy values that say perfectionism is the thing that has to happen before we can try on a thing, right? I'm clear. If you were waiting on perfection, Rochelle would have been like, I'm not going to Lansing because I don't know and I have to do all of this, versus I'm going to step out on faith and be obedient to my assignment. That is so important for us to remember, that perfection is not the thing. It will choke us and prevent us from doing the very best thing that we could be doing, and forgetting to celebrate all of the victories along the way.
And check your tribe while you're going through this piece, because it was Michele, and I hear the voice all the time, who said to me, you have to decide what your love, what success looks like for you. You have to determine when you need to do a thing, and because I'm this crazy overachiever and I got to do the thing like right now. And she was like, nah, you get to decide that thing. And it was an extremely freeing conversation, because for whatever reason, I had never thought that it was something that I got to choose and that I got to do. So check your tribe and who's telling you what, because I think that's real important as well.
Absolutely.
So let's do some sponsorships, please. Amazing Women Speak is sponsored by the Amazing Woman Network, which was created to unite and empower Black women globally, focusing on our core pillars of reclaiming our personal power, mind, body, and spirit, reclaiming our financial power, and increasing our social involvement. Do me a favor, please. Like us on Facebook. The Facebook page is The Amazing Woman with an A Network. So go ahead and like us on that, and be sure to join us on the Amazing Woman Network Facebook fan page every Sunday at 7 for Amazing Women Speak. But also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And the YouTube channel for this podcast is Amazing Women with an E Speak. And lastly, share this episode with women in your circle. You never know what someone is going through and what they need to hear. And this just might be it. I am excited to have been here for what Michele calls the fastest hour of the day, and to hear, again, some incredible, dope stories from some super women who are doing some things, who gave themselves permission. And look at what happens when you actually give yourself permission to shine, when you give yourself permission to also fail, because in it, you had to give yourself permission to fail in order for you to succeed. And you did it anyway, not knowing whether or not you would fail. Giving yourself permission to be obedient, to push those other people aside, that the naysayers. And, you know, I'm always grateful for the naysayers, because tell me I can't do it and watch me show you I'm gonna do it, right? So I appreciate and I celebrate each and every one of you. You all are dope, in inspiration, and I know your message has touched someone today. I am Crystal Gunn. I am a Black woman, and I own my amazing.
So once again, it is my honor. Crystal, I thank you one more time for being obedient to the call on your life that has provided this platform for women to hear, for women to learn and to share. We do not celebrate ourselves enough. And there are so many dope women who have gone through it to get to this side. And just to be able to hear the stories and celebrate week after week is a gift that we often don't even know we need. So I'm so very grateful for your obedience to this. It is my honor to share company one more time with two amazing women. I learn every single time somebody sits in these seats. And tonight the learning was on a PhD level. Thank you both for reminding us of the importance of what will happen when we give ourselves permission to wear that crown, to chase what feels impossible, and watch ourselves succeed anyway. It has been my pleasure. My name is Michele Harper. I am a Black woman and I own my amazing. Jamie, come on in here.
I just want to thank both Crystal and Michele for having me on today. It's not always appreciated as much to talk and share like we should. My name is Jamie Gabriel. I am a Black woman, and I own, operate, and execute in all of my amazing.
Yes, yes. Rochelle, come on in.
Okay, well, you know, I cannot thank you enough for allowing me to take part in this awesome platform. I am so very humbled. I truly am so very humbled. I know that God is using me and He's using you in ways that we never imagined possible. When we look back at what we thought we will be doing versus what we are doing, it's vastly different. And that's because He's in control, not us. And I'm so thankful that He is the one in control, because it would be a mess if it were for me. So I thank you for allowing me to share my story, a little bit about me. I am Rochelle Morton. I am a Black woman, and I own every bit of my amazing.
So I neglected, and I do apologize. So Rochelle, and then we're gonna come back to Jamie. Rochelle, give some people some information on how they can get your products, what they can do, how they can contact you. Definitely, if they want to help with changing the law, please share your information.
Okay, so in order to change the law, I'm gonna start with that first. It is House Bill 4029. It is sitting on Senator Mike Shirkey's desk right now, collecting dust. It passed the House a year ago.
Right.
And so he needs to feel the pressure of us reaching out to his office, bugging his staff, just driving him nuts with the amount of pressure that we can put on him to at least give me the opportunity to meet before his committee, so then it can move to the House floor, so that the senators that represent you have the opportunity to vote for or against this bill. Right now, he's the one who's saying who gets to vote and who doesn't. And at this point, it's nobody. So please reach out to Mike Shirkey, and then he will say, reach out to your state senator. So if you need help figuring out who that is, I can help you with that too. If you want personal protection and safety products to be able to stay safe and have options for yourself, my website is personalprotecther.com. That is where you will find all of the Damsel in Defense products. There are plenty of things to choose from, whatever is most comfortable for you, so that you can feel prepared and ready to use it if you have to. And I pray that you never do. But if you need something, it's there for you. And if you have any questions, my phone number, I can give you that too. It's 313-418-4555. Reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to help you and answer any questions that you have and get the products you need in your hands immediately.
Come on, Jamie.
All right. So to reach out to Woven, you can go to our website at www.wovencorp.co. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at WovenB17. If you want to email me, you can email me at wovenb17@gmail.com. I am your crown adjuster, and I am here to help with your crown adjusting needs.
Thank you so much again, ladies. Thank you, listeners. We will see you next weekend at 7 p.m. on Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your evening.